Welcome back. The Iranian Embassy has reportedly proposed to use the Tshwane City Hall for its cultural and artistic activities. According to News 24 report, the city and the embassy were discussing the use of the venue. However, the interested parties' responses were confusing, and the official in charge of public diplomacy and media affairs at the embassy was quoted saying at the time that the embassy does not have any such program under consideration. Now, Tshwane Human Settlements MMC, Maluleka, joins us for more on this. MMC, a very good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. And there seems to be conflicting stories when it comes to this deal with the City Hall and the Embassy of the Islamic Republic of Iran. If you could just set the record straight, what is the deal?
Thank you for having me. The Mayor of Tshwane, Dr. Moya, established what we call the bed building committee that needs to rejuvenate the CBD space. And part of the work was to identify derelict and bed buildings that should be availed to the market for repurposing, either for mixed development, for hotels, for student accommodation, and a number of other initiatives that would come from business. Therefore, Iranian Embassy saw the work that we're doing, wrote to MMC Murodi, who's responsible for corporate and shared services, and part of properties in the city, to say, we have seen the work that we're doing. We are interested in bringing aboard a part of our investors that would want to take part in this good initiative of availing your land parcels, of availing your derelict buildings. And part of their visit and walkabout was to look at the precinct around the city hall. And when our detractors or the opposition in council saw those pictures, the only thing that they could do, without even asking, was to conclude that there's an agreement with the Iranian government on the city hall. But if you go to the city hall, adjacent to the city hall, we've got the fire station that is derelict, that is no longer in use. That forms part of the land that is available that can be taken up by any other business. We have 132 mission houses in the capital city, and most of them we have either round tables, a conversation, or we sign MOUs that would then give meaning to the relationship that we have. In Brongospruit, we have a church that was established in 1992 by the Chinese people. We respect all the mission houses that are here. For one reason or the other, we engage with them for either schools, sports facilities, and the investment would then go through council processes. There's a framework called the Municipal Asset Transfer Regulation. That council is assist with taking decisions around the matter of analyzing leases. Therefore, we have no agreement with the Iranian embassy, but we are meeting every other potential investor. Either they come from embassies, or they are connected to embassies, or they are South Africans that want to be part of rejuvenating the CBD space.
Understandable to want to also rejuvenate the city space, but when it comes to the city hall in particular, it being government property as well, and also protected space too for the state, is this building part of the bad building sub-mayoral committee that will be up for sale?
No, you can add to what you are saying that the city hall is also protected by the National Heritage Council. Therefore, for anything that we need to do, we must have go ahead from National Heritage Council. Therefore, it would be a mammoth task to even think or initiate anything to give away an attractive point. Because there's something in the city that is called the Government Boulevard. From the Bosman Station until Union Buildings, there's been plans of making sure that the Government Boulevard works. Therefore, the City Hall, like the Zoo Park, and many other attractions getting to the How train station, they're part of the Government Boulevard that must make sure that it works, because after 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, the city gets, dark, because everybody moves around to either Brook Lane, Waterkloof. But the CBD has a big community of people that want restaurants, entertainment points, and we're looking at bringing investors. Therefore, we can't give away a tourism attraction like City Hall that would that has historical meaning and part of our culture, give it away to Iranian government. But we are going to make sure that closer to the city hall, there are other entertainment points where in tourists, when they visited the museum, they want to visit the city hall. It works. In the last 8 years, most of our attraction points were neglected by the previous government, but will not give away such a strategic asset that belongs to the city.
Why do you suppose then, MMC, that News 24, which published this article, would publish it, saying that they even have seen a letter addressed to you, specifically as the MMC, by Iran's cultural counselor, saying that this is a done deal or in the works?
The letter written, we will share it with the newsroom. It was a letter of inquiry of looking at what are their interests, at expanding their cultural activities, at looking at where they can develop. Therefore, it has nothing to do with an agreement that we have with them. Therefore, every other person, every investor, they write to the city. We've seen the precinct of the Roslyn, we've seen the precinct in Mamelodi in Watlu next to Fort. Can you avail these opportunities? Therefore, we deal with every request from time to time. Therefore, with this one, it is going to be treated as such. That is an inquiry. We will take them through our lease process and these assets that we are going to avail in September investment meeting.
So while the Iranian government is not purchasing City Hall, the Tshwane City Hall, there is a possibility that they will be purchasing one of these buildings that falls under this bad building subcommittee.
They will lease if they've got investors that want to take up. Because we have worked around all these buildings. We have placed description of what you can do on them. We are going to avail those land parcels and these buildings. Iranian investors, like any other investor, they are welcome to engage the city on what they want to put up. Therefore, there's a committee that is going to look at every application, and it will make a determination and present its recommendation to council. Council is the final arbiter to make a determination whether they agree with this proposal, and will then take it through our supply chain for finalization of that lease agreement.
And just also looking at the geopolitics going on in the world as well, albeit, of course, South Africa being a sovereign state and having close ties and historical relationships with Iran, but also that relationship getting us into a little bit of muddy water when it comes to the US too. Is the city at all concerned about how this may appear when it comes to geopolitics?
We are alive to the reality of what is at play in terms of our geopolitics, and will not undermine the sovereign work done by the Ministry of DERCO. We will not undermine the work that the president has done. But you know that people that are in that council, they've went to Ukraine when we're negotiating with Ukraine. They've went to Taiwan and are negotiating business. But as a coalition government, we are circumspect to these global activities that are taking place. The U.S. government as a partner is currently, putting up concessions and putting up, certain percentage that are constraining our businesses to participate in the global business. But we're also aware that it's important for Pretoria, as part of the global politics, to also be supported by metro cities like the city of Tshwane, the city of Cape Town, Ekurhuleni, and Johannesburg. Therefore, we are the last people not to support what our ministry and the presidency is doing with regard to our relations globally. But we also have sister-to-sister agreements. The Swedish government, Finland, we have agreements with them on water, on technology and other things, but they go through DERCO on how we then have a balance in terms of our agreements and what the sovereign government is taking as a lead in terms of its policy on foreign relations that it has with other countries.
And just in closing, so what is the plan for City Hall?
City Hall was in the past. There was money invested. There was shoddy work that was done. It was investigated. We're trying to recoup money. We want to retain it in terms of the norms and standards of National Heritage Council. There were changes that were made which are not acceptable for that for National Heritage Council. We want to revamp it. We want to make it, to be a center of attraction like it was in the past. We want to invest in it, but we have worked out what are the costs. We need almost 200 million now to start with the work. But we will not, put it up on sale because one thing that we need to do is to make sure that other departments can utilize it until we get it to a standard where in many other countries, if you visit, you can go to the city hall that houses mayors, that houses government. That's the direction that we want to take. It's an important asset. We'll get back to it once our finances are in good shape to make sure that it works.
MMC, thank you so much for your time.